just check in for a moment briefly. Bear with me. Let's see here. How am I going to do this? I'm over here. Here we go. Alrighty. Good evening and welcome. I don't know if anyone's here. There might be. The notifications rarely go out on this channel anymore. I don't know why. I'm very sad about that, but that's just how it is. Thank you for visiting, dropping by, whoever you are. Later on, we'll connect in the chat. I've got room tonight for maybe 3 readings maximum. Fluffles, if you show up, we can do one for you. Esther, we've got time for you. I'm going to pull out an old post-it note here. This is old, but it's still current, okay? Now, I noticed over the last few weeks a couple of new folks showed up, and that was kind of fun. I think it was mostly guys, and they were like scientists. That was kind of cool. You know? Let's have a look. So, here we are. We're on the cusp of a Cancer new moon. We're going to talk about that on the charts in a little while. Just right now, I'm just trying to say hello and get everything set up and running, make sure it all works. It sounds like we've got music, we got visuals. Hello, Ms. Boucher. We got music, we got visuals. Most of the software seems to be working, and all the hardware. Sometimes it gets a little tricky. It's extremely hot outside, pretty warm inside. And there's some components on my computer that are buckling in the heat. Esther, you're here. Esther, we're going to do it. I owe you a mini reading, okay? Greetings. Let me get back over here for a moment. I still have to finish the Astrodoodle, okay? So this will take me a few minutes. Hope you don't mind. And so I'm just going to get on with it, all right? Gotta keep going. Just give me a few moments here. I'm almost done. So I think, oh, I'm glad you like that. Thank you, Esther. Let's have a look. See if I got that. I want to make sure I've got, so it's, let's see, the 16th. Yeah, so Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Saturn, Neptune, Pluto retrogrades. Okay, we're good. Now I'm getting a little anxious because we have so many retrogrades coming up. I want to make sure I've got them all. I don't want to scare everybody, but yeah, something to think about. I think I made a video. I can't remember if I made a video about it, but I will supplement anyway. So here we are again, Sunday evening, broadcasting across the world. Oh, okay, let's sort out some magic post-it notes. Get this sorted out properly. All right, Elizabeth, I can do you first. You are number 1. All right. If I recall, you donated last time. I can't remember, but I think you donated. Let's see. I've got a whole bunch of post-it notes over there, and I owe one to Esther. I know that already. Thank you for showing up today, Esther. I owe you a mini reading. Let's get this sorted out. And I've got another booking from Love Triber. It was booked in advance, so she may be busy doing stuff and she might catch it on her recording later. We'll see. Let's see. Okie dokie. All right. That's what we got. So that's probably going to be all we can do tonight. We're already booked up. I wish I could do, you know, like I used to do in the old days, like 8 readings, a 5-hour video. Yeah, so thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, go ahead. I think you know the routine. You have to go on a different device or a tab or something, and you go to the donate page. I'll just walk people through it in case there's some folks over here. Let's have a look. Okay, so in case you're new, there's a website called TarotLumination.com. It looks like this. You can pick the different pages. This is the donate page. You press the donate button. It goes straight to my account. And then over here you can book readings. You can connect with me directly, figure out how to do the meetings, and so on. So, some of you might have noticed we did a series of videos. Actually, let me check in with you guys. Greetings, it's TarotLumination. Sunday night, 16th of July, 2023. We're heading right into that Cancer new moon. I guess it's technically tomorrow. Depends where you are on the surface of this earth. And we'll talk about that in a minute. What I was saying is that some of you noticed, I can tell, because I was just checking out the channel a little bit earlier to do all the, production and get everything organized on the channel to go live. And it looks like a few people are watching the videos. It's a whole series on the Aries North Node. Some of you know that the North Node is sort of like, has the same implications, energy, and significance as a planet, even though it's not a planet. The node is a point of intersection, and the intersection is the point where the elliptical orbit of the moon, which is at an angle to the orbit of the Earth around the sun, creates an intersection, sort of like, it's I guess it's sort of like, I can't, maybe like that. Wait a minute, if I do this one, I'll do this, so that. Okay, that's the axis orbit of if that's the sun and that's the earth, and then that's the earth, then the moon's orbit actually goes at a slight angle. So it's not, I'm not going to go into it here. It's easier if I just ask you, please take a look at the series. There's 13 videos in all, basically one for each archetype, all the way from Aries to Pisces, 12 separate videos, and then there is a primer video which covers the whole thing about the Aries North Node. So it really helps if you watch the primer video. In fact, it's really important that you watch the primer video so you have a much deeper understanding of the significance of the lunar nodes. So, in a nutshell, the lunar nodes are technical, mathematical, geometric points in our solar system where the moon's orbit crosses the elliptic. So there's a point. This orbit crosses this orbit, and it creates a point of intersection. You can't actually touch it or anything. It's not like you can go out there and put your hands around Mars or Neptune or something like that, or an asteroid. It's just a mathematical point, and the ancient astrologers figured it out a long time ago because they noticed, because the moon is such an important part of our astrology, they noticed patterns about the moon above and beyond the lunar transit. They started to notice, wow, there's these eclipses, and these eclipses seem to happen at certain times when the orbit of the moon is in a certain direction relative to the orbit of the Earth around the sun. And they realized it's the overlap, the intersection. So they call that the lunar node. And there's exactly one on each side of the orbit. And so they called the one that's ascending, the way when it looks like the moon's orbit is going upwards, they call that the north node. And when it looks like it's going downward on the other side of the planet, they call that the south node. God, I'm making a complete hash up of this, sorry. And oh God, I've just seen something on the chat. I'm so embarrassed. Oh boy. So anyway, the thing is that this nodal axis transits just in the same sort of way that a planet appears to transit, but it appears to go in reverse compared to the planets. All the planets go in a certain direction, but the lunar node intersection seems to go in the other direction. Anyway, what the ancient astrologers found out is that the north node represents this kind of scary, delicious, highly addictive type of direction where people are naturally drawn but also terrified because it represents a lot of unknown ingredients to the life journey and the life path coming up ahead. And at the same time, the south node represents what appears to be the past, or your childhood, or your conditioning, or even your past lives. And so the nodal axis is asking you, the viewers, to consider the idea that there's more to life than this life. There's an afterlife. There's a enormous, beautiful, transcendental veil between you and your three-dimensional self and the wonderful, beautiful world of the great beyond. And in the world of the great beyond, time is very malleable, and there is such a thing as the past and the future all happening simultaneously. I can see it right, so I can just, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comment. Oh, I'm so scared of saying things on this channel now. But anyway, check out one of the comments, everybody, from Love Triber. It's true, I actually had a bit of a verbal hiccup on the nodal video regarding Capricorns, and I'm sorry about that, but I did correct myself. And the video got approved anyway, so I guess it's an okay-ish word. The algorithms punish you because they detect language. If I say bad words or things like that, my channel will send up red flags to the Mr. Algorithm, or Mrs. or Ms., depending on how the algorithm likes to be identified. So anyway, the point of making that series of 13 videos is because I was prompted by several people, hey TL, you need to make some videos about the North Node. And so I did. I'm sorry it took me so long, but it finally got there. And it's just starting. It's just starting right now. So you've got plenty of time to educate yourself. Watch the video. Watch the primer video. Number one, that's the most important thing, because that affects everybody in the whole of planet Earth. But then you can pick out your dominant sign, like if you're a Virgo or a Sagittarius, go straight to that secondary video. And then, just like Love Triber says, you can cross-watch for a significant other, especially when you consider that the nodal axis is Libra to Aries. So you're coming from the history, the past lives, the default settings of the Libra dynamic, which is a lot of it's about relationships, love, relationships, harmony, balance, being there for another, someone being there for you. Basically, the idea of a human being with another human. But on the other hand, you have to remember that we are singular entities. And a lot of people have a problem with that. Human beings are very sociable. That's why we like to cluster together in cities and tribes, cults, political parties. That's normal. That's what we do. Some people group themselves by race, creed, culture. Oh, what are the other ones? There's all sorts of ways that people group themselves and categorize themselves. Anyway, I encourage you to have a look. I actually learned a bit myself, because sometimes I get, a bit lost about directions for myself. And I just, like the rest of you, I just lived the 1.5 years for the Taurus North Node. And that was a very big deal for me personally. So it's like, in some ways, it's like you're going through a grinder, and eventually you get used to it. Then all of a sudden, it's the end, and then boom, boom, boom. Oh my God, we're starting a new chapter. This is the Aries North Node journey. Okay. So yeah, let's have a look. Let's go over here now. All right, so you know what? We should let's just dive in and do the reading for Elizabeth. Then I can come back to the Astrodoodle, okay? Because Elizabeth has to get rolling. So let's put this aside, and we'll come back, okay? And then Elizabeth, if you want to see my chatter about the Astrodoodle and the astrology, you're welcome. You can watch it later on a replay or something. So let's dive right in. Okay, let's do some adjusting here. Okay. All right, Elizabeth. I hope you're well. I have to tell you, dear Elizabeth, everybody knows, I think people know that Elizabeth is over there in Los Angeles, right on the beach. And we used to be neighbors and good buddies for years. I really miss the beach. Man, just Just imagine, it's probably, what, 80 degrees right now, right on the beach, 90 or maximum. I know there's a heat wave happening right now, certain parts of America and the world. Spain, have you noticed that Spain is boiling alive? People are dying. You can't handle it. They don't have air conditioners as much as we do. And when you hit like 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius and around those kind of temperatures, people die. Our human body is not made to live at those temperatures. By the way, I watched another very interesting one of my favorite YouTubers had a few minutes last night. I don't know if any of you folks are into the climate stuff. I just want a quick note here, okay? Give me a second, Elizabeth. So, everybody is stressing about climate because it's being shoved in our face so much. Remember, we just lived through Uranus in Taurus, North Node. We got Jupiter in Taurus. We got Uranus in Taurus. It has very, very extreme, shocking, highly disruptive impacts on planet Earth itself. Typically, when Uranus goes through Taurus, there's always massive disruptions in weather cycles. Extreme heat, extreme cold, highly unpredictable volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, flooding, fires, bizarre events in the land, tectonic plate shifts, very radical, shocking, highly unpredictable elements. The one thing that is predictable is that there will be shocking events on the planet Earth itself during the Uranus in Taurus transit. And the transit for Uranus is, let's see, I think, is it 7 years? Yeah, it's about a 7-year transit. So we still have a few years to go. So people, please understand, this is normal, okay? And the point that the channel, the other channel made the other night is that he did a lot of deep diving into very long-term statistics about global climate. And when you add everything up, there's the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, things get hot, things get cold, the ocean heats up, the ocean cools down, ice melts, ice freezes, and huge disruptions in the solar, whatever they're called, or the, the things, all the huge, I forgot what they're called. The wind things, the jet streams all around the North Pole and the South Pole, they get very, very disrupted. Also, we're having huge solar flares right now. The sun goes in 11-year cycles where things get activated and less activated. You can see it. It's very, very clear. If you study the sun, I like to watch certain astronomy channels. It's a very, very precise 11-year cycle. And it does have an effect on weather and temperature. But when you stretch it out over hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of years, many, many thousands of years, you can take it into things like the Ice Age and some of the really big climate events where there are major shifts. But for the last 50, 60 years, as far as back as he could go when they were taking records through NASA, the average global temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. It's been a flat, steady line for decades and decades. And this year, it's exactly the same. Why things are so wacky and disruptive is because things are happening outside the normal parameters. The Sahara Desert is boiling up alive and spewing heat north. It's crazy, but when you average everything out, places get hot, places get cold. Anyway. Yeah, rivers right now, there are so many geological, massive disruptions happening right now, and that's normal. These are the biggest upheavals that happen on Earth, and the big cycle is every 84 years with Uranus and Taurus. And also that gets amplified when we get a big stellium in Taurus. Okay? All right. I just wanted to get that out there because I found it very interesting. Because yeah, it's about 120 degrees outside here right now. But you know, that's normal here. It's a little bit hot. Today's a couple degrees hotter on average, but you know, that was expected. We might get a colder winter, who knows? All right. So, Elizabeth, let's bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the whole TarotLumination channel, all the multiple softwares running simultaneously, the cameras, the lights, the microphones, the computers, all the connectors and wires, electricity and internet and the platform itself and all of that good stuff. Okay? What do I mean exactly by it's normal? Okay, let's just say it this way. The abnormalities are what is normal. Okay, let me go to the chart very quickly. It's become exceptionally turbulent. This is a 7-year journey here. When Uranus entered Taurus years ago, we're over here. We've got probably another 2-3 years. I can't remember. I haven't got my charts in front of me because I don't have a multi-year ephemeris at hand at the moment. But we are at like peak expression right now. We've gone past the 15-degree mark of maximum expression, where we're getting huge geological and climate shock, awe, upheaval, chaos, insanity, craziness, and it's being amplified by Jupiter. Jupiter is making the flooding worse in flood areas and droughts worse in drought areas. If that makes sense. Okay, that's what I'm trying to describe here. Eventually Uranus is going to move into Gemini, and things will start to quiet down a little bit regarding climate issues. And things are going to go crazy with technology and communications. But that's a few years away, so don't worry. Anyway, all the crazy stuff happening in the geology on Earth right now, all the crazy things happening with the weather, that's normal. Crazy is normal. When you're dealing with Uranus in Taurus just a little bit after the midpoint 15 degrees. Okay? So just ride. You just have to ride through it. All right. Yeah, isn't that weird? Of course, you're not allowed to talk about these things because you are considered like rude and some kind of conspiracy theorist, and you're a denier, and you think everybody is full of nonsense. You have to remember that the global elites, they maintain their power through fear. They propagate fear across Earth in order to own you and control you and have as much power over you as possible. That's their business model. So, don't take it too personally. We're just going through nature exactly. In other words, put it this way. Everything is exactly as it should be. And why is that so, and how is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. Things are the way they are. Reality is what's real. You might not like it. You people might think we need a revolution. Oh, okay. Well, go for it. We need to stop the planet from melting. Okay, good luck with that. Oh, next, in a couple thousand years, they'll be saying, oh, we need to stop the planet from freezing. Oh, no. All right, Elizabeth. I have no idea what's going to happen. It looks like we're going to do a blind reading. I hope you don't mind. Let's have a look here. Okay. We're using the TarotLumination situational spread as always. All right, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to deal with things, okay? Let's have a look at external influences, opportunities, challenges, whatever that might be. Don't take it too personally. All right. So we have the Five of Wands. Oh, well, actually, I'm kind of excited about this for you, Elizabeth. If you think of this as representing the energy of challenge, of sport, of gamesmanship, of competition, of winning, of learning and enjoying the experience of pitting yourself against your biggest challenges and learning and enjoying how to prevail. Okay? This is a very athletic type of energy, and I think it relates very strongly to the Aries North Node, which is a very physical type of energy. If you think of Mars and Aries, the warrior, the fighter, the go-getter. So before I even pull the cards up here, I'm going to just check in for a second. Elizabeth, if you haven't watched those videos yet, please do so later or tomorrow or this week sometime. Watch a little video on the channel called Aries North Node. You have to scroll through the video list. And then for yourself, pick out your dominant sign energy. You know, maybe your sun, moon, and rising. Particularly your sun sign. And watch the video for the sun sign. And for all those videos, all 12 of them, the Aries North Node is the dominant theme. So in your case, it seems to me that the North Node journey, the North Node in Aries, is going to be a significant chapter for you over the next year and a half. I remember last time we connected, you had a renewed surge of confidence because you've been putting yourself up against incredible challenges and setting very high standards for yourself and goals. And sometimes you just need a break and it gets too tough. But you're throwing yourself in the mix. And what this Five of Wands is indicating to me is that you've made some good decisions, and it's very appropriate that you throw yourself into the battlefield of dealing with your personal challenges. Now, it might be to do with certain people, certain characters that appear in the storylines of your life. It might be health events, whatever it is, financial events, circumstantial, friends, the weather, just day-to-day survival in life. It's really, really good that whenever your body senses a challenge and you would normally go, oh God, I don't want to do this. Like, I can't go outside. I don't want to see so-and-so. I don't want to go back to my huge project. I can't do it. But instead, you take it on. It's just like, come on, bring it on. You think I can't handle this? Watch this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write another page. Ha ha. I'm going to write a page per week. I might even get 2 per week. Maybe 1 a day. Ha ha ha. I'm a winner. I'm a fighter type of vibe. Anyway, I hope that made a little bit of sense for you before we get into it. Take advantage, okay? Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, look at this. Power, man. It's really, really simple. In this situation, in this reading, it's an indication that, dear Elizabeth, you have a natural, no matter how bad things get, you have a natural elemental core of happiness deep inside of you, which is very, very powerful, and which is what has allowed you to survive and thrive and face immense adversity over the years. This is a very powerful card for you, Elizabeth, and it's a reminder that you have this power. It's like the power of the sun. It's indestructible, okay? And in its simplest terms, it just means joy and happiness and the right to, you have the right, the duty, the obligation, and a commitment and the choice to be happy and make the best of your life and circumstances. And if other people can't handle your choices, then guess what? That's their problem. It's not your problem. What's really important is that you proceed with immense courage and self-assuredness in your mission. Okay? And don't let anyone or anything get in your way. Nothing. Okay? Of course, what's the problem here? Fear, fear, fear. It's just like, oh, is anybody going to love me? There's still so much I have to learn. So much that I don't know. But that's why I'm here in this lifetime. I know it's been really, really hard at times. And I wish I hadn't been so hard. But I can't help it. I'm here to love and to be loved. And I have to understand what that is. And number one, it means love thyself. I know that because TL told me. And I know it's true, but sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't believe it because I don't feel it. Okay, do you see what I'm getting at here, Elizabeth? This would be a very natural fear for anybody. But just as powerful as this combination is here, this little sweet Page of Cups is also very powerful because this could represent the doubt. Like, does anybody love me really? What happens if I actually do manifest my true self, my true power, my true talents, gifts, and abilities? Is anybody going to love me then? I know in our private readings we've talked about this stuff, so I hope you know what we're talking about. But it's very similar to what's happening in American politics right now. There's a lot of very, very dirty stuff that goes on in American politics, and it's been going on for a long time, and it's got to the point where the stench is so bad that it's smelling up the whole of planet Earth, not just America. Everywhere on Earth is aware of how bad things are in America right now when it comes to the politics and finance. So, let's get back to you. So, it's understandable because this is kind of extreme, kind of really powerful, and just when you, in your mission, one of your big goals in life is to express yourself and tell your truth and share that truth with the world. It's sort of like what's happening in American politics. There are certain people who may be upset and offended. But then again, it's about time, you know? That's what's happening in American politics. There's a lot of really dirty, nasty, evil people who are being outed right now because the good people in America are sick of the dirty people. So, there you go. So don't worry. You're fine and you're going to be fine, but you've got to remind yourself to stay in your power and understand how powerful and blessed you are, and you have the right and the choice and duty and obligation to be happy, no matter how scared you get at times. So how do we deal with this going forward? The Knight of Wands. Okay, I had a very powerful impulse when I saw this card come up. And it might not make sense to you, Elizabeth, because first impression might be, well, it would be so nice to have a savior. Wouldn't it be so nice if you could look around and find some sweet person to come into your life and make everything good and protect you and defend you and everything like that? But here we are with the Aries North Node story. It's so important that you learn to rely absolutely on yourself first and foremost. And there's no outsourcing your happiness to other people. That would be a very subtle form of self-sabotage. So, in a way I don't like saying this, but it's almost like the way to deal with your situation is for you to be your own knight in shining armor, where it's almost like you have to represent and carry inside of yourself the energy field that you would attract if you were expecting all that protection and inspiration to come from outside of you, from someone else. What I'm sensing here, because this is a very masculine energy, it's very, very strong energy, and you're a very feminine, very female person. And so to strike the balance, it's to go forward. What I'm sensing here is that along with the theme of the Aries North Node, it's time to activate your own power, your own righteousness, your own rights, duties, and obligations to save yourself. Put yourself first as number one and be your own knight in shining armor. Have you heard that expression? Like, people say it in certain conversations. I don't want to put a context, but some people say, like, hey, there's nobody coming to save you. Hey, there's no one coming to save us. You know, that's happening in Los Angeles and Seattle and Portland. There's a lot of crime, and a lot of business and families and people are being devastated by all the crime. And that's a result of very, very, very bad, evil administrations and policies. And then so innocent people who are being abused are realizing, wow, there's no one coming to save us. There's no police, there's no judges, there's no courts. What do? Well, you got to save yourself. I hope that analogy helps to explain what the story that's coming out in the cards for you. It might not seem fair, Elizabeth, because a lot of people want to have a sweet, cozy relationship where, oh, that's me, here I am. It would be so nice to have somebody to take care of all my problems for me. Well, that's actually a very subtle form of self-sabotage. So this is just, in a way, this is just a reminder that you're already awesome, you're already powerful, you're still on a learning curve like the rest of us. What is the deepest meaning of love in my life, in your life in particular? How does that translate to you? It's time to take care of yourself, represent yourself, be your own knight in shining armor, and set aside expectations of some almost like a fairy tale savior. Okay, because that's going to end up in disappointment. So I hope that reading helped you, and so you can get on with your evening. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's been a pleasure to read for you. I hope it didn't hurt your feelings or scare you or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to shuffle it up. Soon we're going to go to Esther and then Love Triber. But first I want to have a little bit of a examination of the Astrodoodle for today. Oh, man. Let's put these aside for a moment. I'll put these over here. Cheers, everybody. It's thirsty work. All right, here's the Astrodoodle. Esther, Love Triber, I'll come back to you in a little bit. Just want to look at this for a moment. So I've used orange as the sort of like, you know, like traffic lights. Green is good, go. Orange is pay attention, beware. Red is potential danger. So what do we got here? We've got a sweet sextile, some sweet sextiles. That's very comforting during periods of extreme challenge. I'm not going to dwell on the green stuff here. We need to pay attention to the challenging aspects, because that's where we get tripped up in life, where it's easy to become a victim or step in a pile of doo-doo without awareness. And of course, we don't want that to happen if you don't have to. It's so important to be aware these days. Have you noticed like the explosion of tarot and astrology all over YouTube? Why is that so? It's because people are waking up and they're interested in this stuff, and they're really realizing it's not just for crackpots and lunatics, space cadets, druggies, hippies, freaks. There is legitimacy for people like us. So, the thing about it, it's called waking up, awareness, the waking up factor. And it's really going to accelerate. If you look at this over here, we're at a precipice. Pluto is hovering here on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. It's a very slow transit. This transit is 250 years. Okay? The North Node transit is 18 and a half years. Okay, it's tiny in comparison. The North Node in Aries is 1.5 years. Right now, we're heading into the Cancer new moon. The sun will be here in very late degrees, Cancer, and the moon's going to be there too, conjoining. That's a new moon when the sun conjoins the moon. So tomorrow, these two circles will be one circle, one on top of the other. And they will be in a very tight opposition to Pluto. So this is very significant for the United States because of the degrees. Because the United States has a huge stellium in Cancer, and it has Pluto in Capricorn, 27 degrees. So this is really going to light up in well, it's already happening. I mean, it's been building up for 2 weeks. And if you watch the news cycles from, I would say, legitimate, healthy sources, then you'll realize that the United States it's not coming unglued, it has become unglued, and we're starting to see what it looks like for a country to fall apart from the inside out. A really good example, a really good example is the very controversial movie called Sound of Freedom. It's an enormous box office hit, and it's about a very tragic subject to do with children and the movement of those children across the world in order to satisfy the really sick appetites of some of the folks who like that sort of thing. And that movie is an expose. It doesn't pander to the emotions. It's a simple, straightforward docudrama telling the story of the true life person, Tim Ballard, who went out way outside of the parameters of his job at the CIA, or was it FBI? The CIA. And decided he was going to quit the CIA and go full-time and create a mission to help these little children. Because really all he could do under the auspices of the government was just try and capture a couple of bad guys now and again. And he realized that's not enough. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of little children being exploited. And so guess what? That movie came out. Some of you might have seen it. The movie came out on the 4th of July. And it was an instant box office smash hit, blowing everything else out of the water. And that became a very awkward problem for a certain sector of society that is identified in the movie as the people who like to play with these little children. Anyway, they couldn't stop the movie coming out. They could not stop it. It came out anyway, despite years of resistance by the theatrical, the theater chains and whatever. Eventually it got through. An agreement was made. And it was just a few screenings, and then it just exploded. Because money talks. So the theaters decided, okay, we're just going to run with it. Okay? And so the storyline is everywhere. And the storyline went all over the world very, very quickly. And from my perspective, that's a classic example about the sickness that goes around the world, but especially here in the United States, because that particular sickness is greater and more extreme here than anywhere else in the world. And that is what is so shameful and so embarrassing, and the perfect example of the decay and the deprivation and the squalor that we've allowed to happen inside this beautiful country. So anyway, I'm not sure I don't understand the notes there, so I'll have to talk about that another time, okay? But anyway, that's just an example. Let me go back over here. A few months ago, we had this massive car crash around the Scorpio-Taurus eclipses, all to do, very much to do with the global financial crisis unfolding. And of course, that's where we are right now. Again, we're at another precipice where a new global financial system is unfolding in front of our eyes, and the legacy system is dying. The problem is that there are a bunch of elites at the top of the legacy system who have been feeding off human people for decades, and that system is dying. So there are the elites are scrambling, trying to figure out how are we going to replace it so we the elites can stay in power and have all that amazing stuff for ourselves, because we're highly hyper addicted to power and money and control. And so you're seeing that behavior inside the United States. You're seeing it all over the world, frankly. So I guess the standout things about the chart is that we're seeing this classic new moon indication right here, but it happens to be directly across from Pluto. So when you get Sun opposite Pluto, that's as extreme as you can get in Western astrology in terms of the distance and separation between the two most extreme parts of our solar system that we interpret in astrology. If you say that the Sun represents the most obvious essence of you, and Pluto represents the deepest part of you, to the point that it's almost incomprehensible, undetectable, they are in full opposition right now. So they weren't for a while, but they are right now. And like if you're, let's say you're a person born at this time, you would be a person who's born with a massive Sun-Pluto opposition. And it's a very challenging aspect, because this is the biggest chasm that exists in Western astrology, the chasm between the Sun and Pluto, especially when it's so exactly polarized. So you get to see the most amazing things through the gift of the mirror, the gift of reflection. We get to see the amazing power of Pluto when it's healthy, and the amazing power of Pluto when it's unhealthy. And you get to see the amazing power of the sun when it's healthy and the amazing power of the sun when it's unhealthy. Because the health of the sun would be contingent on the health of your Pluto, and vice versa. The health of your Pluto would be contingent on the health of your sun. So it's a question of how evolved are you as a person to come into a lifetime where you are born with this aspect. Personally, I have a feeling I would be heavily challenged. It would be, from what I've learned in this lifetime about Sun and Pluto, man, this is tough. Anyway, so on top of that, we have another very challenging aspect with the Mars just into Virgo opposing Saturn. Health issues, karmic issues, debt issues, sickness, disease. What are we going to do about it? It's all being exposed across planet Earth. The subject of sickness and disease, it's everywhere. There's probably we have 8 billion people on Earth now, of which at least 2 billion live very extreme marginal lives on the verge of death, simply because of poverty with food, water, energy, shelter, climate. 2 billion people are suffering. And that's just the natural consequence of having 8 billion people on a planet. There's only so much room, you know? But anyway, what are we going to do about it? Because when you squash that many people into one place, you're going to have disease and sickness amplified. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse until we figure out how to deal with it. So that is being very prominently identified in the charts right now. The sickness of planet Earth and humanity. The other thing, of course, is the North Node axis. You can watch all the videos about that. This is it right here. This would represent the South Node in Libra. Okay, the South Node in Libra. It's just beginning. It's a 1.5 year journey. And this is what we're theoretically supposed to leave behind, because we've already been there, done that, and it's the default setting. It's the easy way to live without having to think or evolve or make choices. And then over here we have the North Node, which would be sort of like the northern part of the compass. Let's put it that way if you want to, for fun. We're heading into the unknown. It's a time of discovery of what it's like to be our true sovereign self without being contingent on relationships. And that might be very, very hard for some people, because so many people consider relationships one of the most important things in life. And of course it is, but you can't have a healthy relationship without being healthy yourself. And that's where people slip up. In order to have a really successful, healthy, mutually beneficial relationship, it's very important that you are as fully integrated as possible and have as much direct ownership of your sovereign self before engaging with a significant other. Otherwise, you drift into a pool of codependency and very messy, indistinguishable boundaries where things can get very, very tricky. You've probably noticed that a lot of people have a lot of problems in relationships. Relationships includes the process of mating, getting married, being a couple, you know. Hey Tina, I was just thinking about you. I got to read for Esther. I can do a reading for you, Tina, but that's it for tonight, everybody. No more readings after that. I'll put a post-it up for you, okay, Tina? You know the routine, and I will dig out a. Let's see. I will dig out a post-it for you. I've run out of my wonderful magenta post-it, so I'm going to give you a dazzling chartreuse post-it. Okay, Tina? Yeah, I'll put you up here, Tina. Let's do it. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's put this aside. If we need it, we'll come back. All right, Esther. Cards are marginally shuffled, but we're going to go a little bit deeper here, just to make sure. Oops, okay. Hey, Tina. I think there's going to be some obvious questions from the crowd. Thank you, Tina. I've got this idea because I'm as curious as okay with that, unless you have something very specific that you want me to deal with in one word. I know it's tricky to say it that way, but anyway. I see your little icon, Esther. All right, Lester, let's see what's coming up. We're going to go blind. Let's put you up here. Here we go. And I'll put Love Triber up here. And we'll put Tina over here. All right, sorry about that. Got to start again. Wait a minute, you could not hear me? What's happening? Is the audio working? Oh, okay. Blind's fine. Okay, no. Thank you, Tina. All right. All right, Esther, let's see what's going on. Oh, yeah. So, Tina and actually everybody, when I started setting up the show, it takes me a while to prepare everything for the show and get everything working properly. And it was very difficult to get access to a live stream tonight. And it doesn't surprise me. And my feeling, there's nothing wrong with the computers or the internet or anything. And from what I can tell, the transmission is excellent right now. But there's probably an extremely long lag time because there's a lot. My feeling is that here in Las Vegas tonight, there's a tremendous amount of traffic on the internet as people are hiding inside their houses or inside their casinos or wherever they're hiding to stay out of the heat. And a lot of people are choosing to go online through their internet, including probably massive traffic on YouTube. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. That's my personal best guess about why there might be such an extreme lag. The stream is fine, it's just that there's a very extreme lag. All right, let's have a look. Cards are nicely shuffled. We'll dive right in. Okay, Esther. Let's have a look. If I recall, Esther, you were introduced to this channel by Necessary Truth. I don't know why that came to my mind, but I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Okay, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look over here. External influences, I like to call it. This is my situational spread. It's like a diagnostic tool. Okay, so we've got the Magician. Wow. Okie dokie. So, I feel that this is like an indicator, like a big green light. Beep, 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 beep. Indicating for you, Esther, that whether you like it or know it or not, you're coming into an episode where one of your biggest challenge might be like, my gosh, how exactly am I going to express my power? I have so many options. My feeling is that you're at a point in life where you can look around the landscape of your life and your world and you realize, wow, I've been there, I've done that. Wow, been there, done that. Ooh, been there, done that. Wow, I have a lot of wisdom in my pocket as a resource that I own. That's pretty awesome. And that's very valuable. And that when it has that much, let's say, knowledge, experience, wisdom, that becomes very valuable. And then with that much value, it translates into power. So the big question is, what are you going to do with your magical powers, your abilities? You know, cerebral abilities like mental acuity, knowledge, wisdom, the capacity to love and to be loved, the understanding of the physicality of this world, things like money, food, resources, time, energy, and things like the passions about the drive and energy to conduct yourself through life. All of those are swimming around simultaneously inside of you at your disposal. And so what I'm sensing here is kind of a big question mark. Wow, what exactly am I going to do with myself now with all of this? Now I'm aware that I have that. You're at a point in life where you have a lot of grace. That's the only way I can describe it. It's the energy of grace. Like if I don't know when it happened or with who, but we were doing a reading with somebody here about a life well lived. And that doesn't mean you have to be a saint or a savior or really rich or powerful or incredibly beautiful or handsome or any of that. When I think of a life well lived, it's where you can sleep at night knowing that you have been loving and you have been loved. No matter how bad things were. You've had ups, you've had downs, you've had wins, you've had losses. You've loved, you've been loved. You've loved and lost. Others have loved and lost with you. But it's all part of the mystery and journey as you swim through life, okay? You get to the point where I would call it a life well lived, where you get to the point of grace, okay? A state of grace, where everything is exactly as it should be. You are in tune, you're in harmony with divinity, the divine angels, your invisible friends, God, all of that good stuff. And you don't have to apologize to anybody. You don't have to do anything special in particular to prove anything. Nothing like that. You're already in a state of grace. And yet that's a little bit awkward because wow, I'm still here. I still have meaning and purpose. So what am I going to do with that energy of grace? Something to think about. We're starting big new chapters now. Cancer new moon. The energy is going to pick up in a few days and it's going to culminate in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks from now, it would be fun to hear a story from you about what came to your awareness over the last 2 weeks. Okay, but I'm talking about 2 weeks from now. Okay. And also with these cusps, the Pluto-Sun opposition, the Mars-Saturn opposition, the Aries North Node, a lot of this stuff is happening on the cusps. So you can think of the energy of thresholds. Think of cusps as thresholds. You're moving over multiple thresholds simultaneously in your journey moving forward. Looking here, looking there, like, wow. And the show's not over. And like, so what do I do now? I have so much already. I'm already in a state of grace. I already have a life well lived. What now? What now? What now? I think it's beautiful. Okay? I'm actually quite jealous. So let's have a look. Let's get a little bit more down to earth here. Okay. With the Three of Pentacles here, my feeling, it's a very direct message to get very, very close to people that you trust in a sense of community where you can share your talents and gifts with them in an equal way that they can share their talents and gifts with you, where you can enable others in such a way that they enable you. Think of this as the architects and the builders way back in medieval times, when cathedrals and castles were popping up all over Europe all the time. It was an art form developed from Egypt, Greece, Rome, and so on. And it reached a pinnacle. I remember especially in England, with so many churches and castles and abbeys and all those really important buildings. And that's very much what you see in the imagery here. And for those things to manifest, it required immense knowledge and wisdom about physical reality, math, rocks, stone, cement, geometry, architecture, design. And then that had to be implemented through the makers, the actual craftspeople themselves. And so what happens is you get to a point of deep intimacy where the craftspeople really don't have a direction without the architects, and the architects can't manifest without the artisans. Okay? So it's a mutually supportive relationship. And so my feeling here, the situation is right now, is to understand if you are not already in a mutually supportive, very earthy, like very tangible, grounded relationship dynamic that benefits you, number one, and coincidentally benefits the other or the others. That is very important for you right now. So if you're not in that situation, for example, you're here with us right now, okay? You have gifts, talents, and resources. Just by being here, you're already sharing that because you're allowing me to do a blind reading, and it's coming up with a kind of a interesting, beautiful story. So, also regarding money and finances, I just want to say this, is that be very, 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 very careful that if you are in a state of merger, deep merger in finances with other people's money, for example, retirement funds, 401ks, savings, pensions, and all of that kind of stuff, it might be a really good idea to take a very close examination to see how healthy those relationships are. Okay, now what's the problem here? Let's have a look. Okay, even though I feel really strong energy about this here, we have another very powerful card here, but it's in a challenging position. So you, dear Esther, like anyone else, you might have doubts. You might have self-doubt. FUD. You might have a little case, you might have caught a little bit of a bug. It's called FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But it's at the very depths of your soul, where you're actually doubting your own amazing power, your wisdom, your beauty, your wonder, your gifts, your talents, your money, and your resources. All of that. In other words, look at it this way. You've got all of this. You are all of this. but it's deeply in question right now for whatever reason. That's your business. So let's have a look. How are we going to surmount this? How are we going to deal with this disparity? With Venus here, and the Empress, there might be a little theme where the subject of money becomes important. We need to address that. How are we going to deal with things going forward? The Knight of Swords. Okay. Okay, my feeling is that, as uncomfortable as this might be for me to say, I think it's very, very important that you dive into your personal relationships and personal finances in such a way that you have to be willing to ask some very tough questions of yourself and anyone and anything in which you are vested financially in ways that I just described, okay? The typical things for most people would be things like mortgage on a house, a car payment on a car, old college loans, really overused credit cards, savings accounts, pensions accounts, retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, all things that are to do with other people. I'm not talking about how much cash do you have stashed at the house, how much gold, how much silver do you have in jewelry or coins, because that's you. When you hold it, you own it. I'm talking stuff that's out there at risk, stuff that would be at third-party risk. Whenever you trust deeply in the bank and put all your resources in the trust of a bank or a financial management service or anything like that, you are trusting that they're going to look after you. They're going to look after your resources, your money, for your benefit. But if you've been watching my channel for a while, you would know that that isn't always the case. And some of these people who claim to help you to get richer and more stable and look after your money for you have been revealed to be utter thieves and criminals on a massive, massive scale, destroying people's lives. And you can't afford to do that. So what I'm sensing here with the Knight of Swords, if there are financial concerns for you and you're not really sure about how to direct all your energy and power, a really good thing right now would be serious due diligence on your finances. It's not fun to do that. Most people don't want to know because they're scared that they might find bad news. But you've got to reveal it to heal it. If there is something out of whack with your resources, it needs to be discovered, unraveled, understood, and fixed. Okay? The Knight of Swords can do that for you. Well, the Knight of Swords that's inside of you must do that for you. Let's put it that way. Okay? Thank you, Esther. I hope that helps. Hope I didn't scare you. There are millions of people around the world who would actually benefit from that particular mini tarot reading. Because a lot of people don't know about money. They don't understand money. They just simply trust in the belief system that has been passed on to us through conditioning for decades. Only to discover, sometimes too late, that they trusted people that they shouldn't. They trusted a system that they shouldn't. All right, Love Triber, you're up. Let's do this. All right, let's see what we got here. What kind of messages do we have for Love Triber here tonight? Thank you, Love Triber. In fact, for everyone who's willing to trust yourself to a little mini reading from TarotLumination, because it really is quite a spooky thing that we do here when you think about it. Basically, don't think about it, just do. Okay. You know what? I need more shuffles. Excuse me. Gosh, excuse me. Okay, that's good. That's nice. All right, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's challenges, and here's how we're going to handle it, and let's have a look at external influences. We have the Knight of Wands. Gosh, we've had a lot of knights this evening, actually each reading. I think that's very much to do with the Aries North Node. Okay, so with the Knight of Wands here, I'm feeling very positive, supportive energy for you, dear Love Triber, in the form of the Aries North Node, as if the Aries North Node could be personified as the Knight of Wands. And like if I had to pick a tarot card, this could be one that could easily personify Aries North Node. So, let's put it this way. Let's not worry about your personal astrology. Let's look at the global astrology. When we get to these significant degree points, like the 0 degree point, the 29 degree point, the 29 degree point, 29 degree point, so on. There's a lot of like pent-up energy that comes with the magnetic influence of the planets, the gravitational pull of the planets, and how they affect each other in the way that we interpret it as people here on Earth, in our physical bodies, minds, hearts, and souls. So we've got multiple happening tonight right now. We've got this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Of course, this one is very important because we're at the 0 degree of Aries North Node. That's what I'm sensing here for you. And this is, I look at this as a golden opportunity to really seize the moment. Like over the next year and a half, it's really, really important to, let's say, move further and further and further away from default settings regarding default relationships that are basically automatically occurring in your life. Friends, family, business, work, whatever it is, and understand that as wonderful as they may be or may not be, there is an element of, let's say, function or operation or ability to be as healthy as possible in those relationships that will be, let's say, improved by prioritizing yourself above the significant person in whichever relationship we're talking about. And it can be done in a way, you don't have to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's very, very important to continue to move forward in life. I think my feeling is you would resonate to this energy already because you're already getting a taste of it. It's already been happening in the very, very, very final degrees of North Node in Taurus, which can often be interpreted as the gestation, like you can start to pick up a really strong pulse already for the Aries North Node. And over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, I feel that you've probably been having a taste of that, and to know what it feels like. And now it's time to understand that this is a very healthy thing for you to do, to put yourself in charge. And don't whenever you let's put it this, let's flip it upside down. Whenever you feel guilty or possibly ashamed or awkward about what your activities and what your energy might be doing your intentions, your goals, how that might impact others, and you decide, oh, I can't possibly do that. I better just not do what I know that I have to do so that I don't ruffle or destabilize these relationships. Dun, da, da, da. No. Instead, you honor the true self, be your most awesome North Node version of yourself, regardless of the Aries North Node. Prioritize yourself, but not in a mean, selfish type of way, but in a very thorough, very regal, very honest way with the highest levels of integrity. And the way to do that is probably what you're already doing, because for this to show up at all in such a clear vision means that it's already inside of you. And the influence is there, and it's already making a clear imprint, and it's recognizable. The Knight of Wands basically sees that energy. It's almost like, without apologizing, put yourself first. Prioritize yourself, your needs. Because what's that expression about put your oxygen mask on first when the plane is crashing? Because otherwise you can't help anybody else. All right? So anyway, that's kind of what we're talking about here. With this reading, the background theme is don't ever forget, it's not just important to be you, to love thyself first. It is your number one priority right now. Okay, let's have a look at the situation. Situation is justice. Okay, so it goes both ways. Okay, they say let me put this another way. With the justice card here, my feeling is that everything is exactly as should be. Why is that so? How is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. And whatever is not going to work out, whatever is going to fall apart and disintegrate, let it be so. It is just and it is orderly. And all the goodness that comes from a recalibrating of the self to grow out of situations, or like the easiest way to describe it is like gentle codependence or gentle relationship dynamics that have certain characteristics that are functional, have been functional, but on close examination there might be a certain degree of codependency. It's okay to move above and beyond that and like do that polarization thing that we were talking about, and get clear resolution and let it be so, and allow the other people to come into their own next level of evolution as you take charge and seize your own next level of evolution. It's just and it is pure and it is perfectly balanced, and it's just the way that things should be. No harm, no foul. It's just goodness. All right, now what are the challenges here? Queen of Wands. Okay, this to me feels like something sort of what we had earlier, where there's this element of self-doubt. Like, do I really deserve to be that, to put out that much strength of energy and radiation about my own awesomeness to the point where other people are going to look at me and think I'm some kind of arrogant, self-appointed, narcissistic, egomaniac queen ruler, and everyone else is below me? And do I really have the goods at all to be my own most awesome self? There's all sorts of variations of doubt here. But again, that's just fear. FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that's perfectly natural. Just as any human person would feel when they're facing into a new direction, facing into the unknown. Let's say that's the direction, wherever that would be in your chart. And it might make you a little bit queasy. You know, think of the Fool card, for example, standing at the edge of the precipice. Think of these thresholds here. Think of these cusps, like, wow, this is a situation where you're looking at multiple interpretations of new horizons for you. And do you have the courage to go forward? Do you have the goods? Do you have the strength, the credibility, the belief in yourself, the inspiration to do this for yourself in such a way that you can live by example, so that others realize, like, wow, Love Tribe is actually really cool, doing the right thing. It is pure and just and true and honest. And frankly, I don't blame her. Is that real? Is it possible? I don't know. Okay. Well, it is, even though it might be daunting. It's okay to be bold and courageous and prioritize yourself and your needs, your wants, your reality, so that you reach the highest levels of integrity, stability, structure, and your sovereign self as humanly possible in this lifetime. In fact, it's a duty. All right, let's have a look. How are we going to deal with this going forward? Okay, so a really good way to proceed, especially if we're talking about this, there's no relationship cards here exactly, but because of the North Node, and we've talked about it so significantly on the channel recently, and it's a very, very prominent aspect here right now, we have to consider the subject of pre-existing relationship dynamics and how they are right now and over the next year and a half. How can whatever's not working in that department of relationships, friends, family, and so on, how can that be healed? Because it is in the deliberate, because the relationships don't necessarily have to disappear or go away. You don't have to just shut the door and slice everybody out of your life and go off on some crazy adventure on your own. All we're talking about here is to reorient your priorities. And to make this healthy over here, let's just say we're talking about your own particular version of the Aries North Node journey, which is sort of what this reading is looking like to me. How would that look for you? The way to move forward is to accept that you do have existing relationships, and to move forward and to unbind and to loosen up the shackles and chains and encumbrances of relationships. That usually is a result of whatever's not working, which is the unhealthy aspect of relationships. So, with the Temperance card, when it comes to relationship dynamics, instead of using the simple interpretation here, where it's just like, hey, you know what, I don't need you anymore. I'm not saying that. What we're talking about here is that relationships exist, and they're going to continue to exist. In order to give yourself more freedom to be you, you spend time whenever you are in a relationship situation, face to face at something like in a phone call or a meeting, clients, friends, family, and so on. You focus on the healing. You don't have to shove it down their throat, but deep inside yourself, you could observe yourself in the relationship at that very moment in time and try to discern what exactly is it that has not been working so well. And then in very diplomatic, Libra type ways, maybe drop hints about how healing could occur. Like maybe there's some apologies in order. Maybe there's some forgiveness in order. Maybe it would be cool to do something fun if the relationship is starving from fun and happiness. Just something. But this would have to be very private, very subtle, to the point where you don't try and force anything here. All I'm suggesting is with the Temperance is that you be very, very aware, deliberately make yourself aware of what's not working in your relationships, and make it your business to see if there's a path to healing and what your part would be in that process. And perhaps, like, if you need to forgive somebody, then you do that. If you need forgiveness from somebody because of what you did to them or something, then ask for that, instead of just letting things fester. So I guess in a really simple way to conclude here, let's heal all this Libra relationship, love, harmony, balance stuff. Grow out of the default settings and focus on reintegrating yourself so that you're better, stronger, happier version of you, which is better for them. So it's mutually beneficial, okay? So the healing of relationships, that's the way forward. It's not the running away or the deletion of anything that's not working. It's the healing of the relationships that you really value. And that will give you tremendous liberation going forward. All right, I hope that helped. Next up, Tina. Yay. I hope that reading made sense. Gosh, I have to get... you know what? I'm going to play a TarotLumination song because I have to go get a glass of water, okay? I'm really kind of dehydrated here. So if you want to bear with me a second. Let me see if I can do this. Where is it? It's a brand new little acoustic song. It's a little waltz. And I've played it a few times. I've posted it through the music world. I don't know if anyone will ever hear it, but it's on iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Spotify, and all those places. And you can buy the song and own it, and download it and keep it. But for right now, you can hear it on my channel. Here we go. It sounds like this. It's called my 2A song. It's my Second Amendment song. And I've played it a few times and it hasn't triggered any type of warning or strikes, so I think we're okay. I'm going to play it for you while I go get some water, okay? I'll be right back. Here we go. Let's see if it works. Okay, I'm calling this my 2A song. It's from TarotLumination. It's pretty rough, but I hope you get something out of it. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. When will I stop being censored? All I'm doing is speaking the truth. Instead I'm labeled as a domestic terrorist extremist with a short fuse. The fake news just lies and suppresses. The Marxists are writing the scripts. The unaware masses get led to their slaughter while patriots try to resist. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. Yes, we still have our sweet Constitution, but it's severely being abused. Our only solution is a new revolution to take back what belongs to you and me. I'm sick of the perverts and pedos trying to normalize child sacrifice. They revel in evil and their satanic rituals packaged in their delicious lies. No, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. It all began way back on 4th of July in 1776. The founders and fighters gave their lives for our freedom. I don't want to live through that again. You see, I'm recalling a past life from that exact time. I shed blood to shake off the chains of the tyrants and despots who owned us like cattle. But if I have to, I'll fight them again. Oh, you can't take me down and you can't shut me up. I got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, I've still got the second. I won't go down without a fight. No, you can't take us down and you can't shut us up. We got the First Amendment by right. And if the first one is threatened, we've still got the second. We won't go down without a fight. Okay, I did it and it worked. So, let me arrange things here. We're going to get ready to read for Tina. Let's have a look over here. I've got to do a whole lot of technical stuff. Alright, the lag time is extremely slow. Or, well, actually it's not slow, it's long. Okay. So, right. Oh, I can tell. I can't believe how slow. Sorry, I can't believe how long the delay is. Give me a second. I'm going to just let things catch up a bit here. Oh, where am I? Okay, over there. All right. Let's see. Let me just check in, make it a little more friendly here. Hi, Tina. Thanks for dropping by. I think we missed each other over the last couple of weeks, but anyway, we're here now. So, if it's okay, I'd love to do a blind reading. I kind of enjoy though. It gives me, makes me feel like I'm way out in the ocean. I can go far and wide, and anything is possible. Let's see. Go over here. Sorry, on live streams are very, very different from making a recorded video and then posting it. So please bear with me. Let's have a look over here. Alright. We gotta shuffle things up. Okay, let's have a look. And I'm guessing. Just give me a second, Tina. I need to feel comfortable with the deck. And sometimes I have to shuffle and then reshuffle and then reshuffle again. I'm never sure until I actually know. And there's usually a moment, a very precise moment when my body tells me, we got it, we got it, we got it. By the way, Tina, I don't know who else is here. There's only a few of us here tonight, I think. Who's gonna? Anyway, I'm kind of curious. Please don't give me any hints or anything while we're doing the reading. I'm just kind of curious how things are coming along over there with the, the surveyors and all the utilities and the land and the house and everything, and of course your big, wonderful, beautiful doggies. All right, here we go. Don't type anything about that. I don't want to know until, let me do the reading first, okay? Alright, here we go. I'm doing a very, very wide cut because I want a very pristine deck. I'll be right there. I'll be finished. Okay. Alright, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle things. We've had 3 readings already, and for whatever reason, the theme of the nodes keeps coming out. At least that's how it feels to me. So let's have a look. What do we got? It may be nothing for you. Who knows? So we got the Queen of Wands. This is a super beautiful power card. Again, I can't help it. I feel this is very much to do with the Aries North Node journey that's affecting everyone on Earth right now. So, in your situation, oh gosh, hold on a second. I have to deal with a little. All right, sorry about that. I got a little. So, like in a nutshell, it's like, dear Tina, never forget who you are. Okay? Please remember your own natural awesomeness. Seriously? Again, living by example. There are not a lot of people on Earth, even in America, who have some of the, I don't know, if you were a guy, I would say BALLS, or guts, or nerve, or ability to strike out in these very courageous ways that you do. I mean, when you think about it, you've been with the channel for years now, and a lot of big stuff has happened over the years, and it's kind of epic, and that might just be ordinary for you, but for a lot of people, they wouldn't have the nerve to make some of the incredible choices and decisions that you've made for yourself in your life. So I'm thinking you might have just started taking yourself for granted and oh well, I'm just Tina Miller living my life, and I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and it's just I never know if I'm right. I have no idea if I've done the right things or not. There's no one to tell me. I just get up in the morning and I putter around doing the stuff that I have to do. Okay, so there's that side of Tina Miller. But there's this side as well. The Queen of Wands, to me it feels it's almost shouting Tina, please don't forget that you are living a life of example, living by example. It's brave, courageous, and bold. And just give yourself a pat on the shoulder now and again. Tonight, when you maybe look in the mirror before you go to bed or something, or when you're in the bathroom or something, just remind yourself, give yourself a pat on the shoulder and go, you know what, I am pretty freaking awesome, if I say so myself. Thank you very much. No apologies. I'm not talking about egomania, narcissism, selfishness, or anything like that. It's just an acknowledgement of your own awesomeness. That's all. That's very simple. Okay, what's the situation? Happiness is the home. Home is the happiness. It makes me feel that this is the number one subject right now, where maybe there's a coalescence happening, where for better or worse, you're looking around the latest iteration of your life and you're realizing, well, I've done this enough times now. I've moved over here, built homes there, traveled there, set up another home there, made good decisions, made bad decisions, made middle of the road decisions, job, career, money. But in the end, really, I just want to settle down, get this thing over with, and wrap myself up in my wonderful, cozy home. I want to be there with the the creatures that I love. Like perhaps if you could imagine, maybe I think you've got, I can't remember the names of the ones who are, I know you lost one recently and there was another one, but I believe you still have 2 big furry friends. So what I'm sensing here is that, oh yeah, bring it on. Just please bring it on, TL. If you can push any buttons or make things happen, that would be just awesome. Happiness in the home. Home equals happiness. Happiness equals home. Well, let's correlate that with the Cancer new moon. How about we meet up again in a couple weeks when we get to the full moon, when the sun will already be in Leo, but the moon will be up here. Actually, you know what? The full moon's going to be in Leo Aquarius, but that doesn't stop the moon going into Capricorn just before it goes into Aquarius. So when we get towards the full moon, I would love to hear some updates about how things are happening with your new home and so on. Okay, so you've got Charlie, Sasha, and Eva. Okay, cool. So, okay, I don't know how I would explain this except by coming over here. So the way I'm feeling it with the 10 of Cups is that you're starting to progress is just, I probably just with all these retrogrades coming up, grinding forward. On the other hand, depending, so like some people, retrogrades can be a really good time, especially if you're born with a lot of retrogrades. You can start to think like, wow, things are actually starting to come into place. But anyway, my feeling is that like you've made these big decisions. You've put your flag in the ground, like this is your space, this is your land, this is your home. I'm talking about this in such a way because we've already done readings before and we have a history together. And so I am filtering this reading from the history that we've shared together. So with the 10 of Cups, I'm feeling it's very much to do with the Cancer new moon. Think of Cancer, think of 4th house, think of home, think of family, think of you with your 3 loved ones, your beautiful furry friends, and how you might be starting to actually get a glimpse of reality, and like it isn't just concepts anymore, and it's like a vision. The way I feel it here, the only way I can describe it, it's like a vision that's starting to come out from the fog. So much fog of uncertainty, fog of not knowing, fog of time and delays. But with this Cancer new moon and the Aries North Node, there might be a thinning in such a way that more clarity is starting to happen, and you feel it here like, wow, there's a real possibility. Happiness equals my new home. My new home equals happiness. You see, they're 2 sides of the same thing. Okay? And it's important to acknowledge that. And that's what you have created. That's your manifestation. Now, what are the challenges? There's always going to be challenges. So we've got, okay, so this might be very frustrating for you. We got the High Priestess here. So it might be that it's in some ways the biggest challenge for you is not knowing the exact details of how and when the great manifestation occurs. Because what you're dealing with is very, very classic 3-dimensional manifestation. Okay, and this little 10 of Cups here, there actually is a little home house over there in the background, okay? And it's in the distance, but it is there. And so, I mean, I don't mind admitting it. I'm intensely jealous. I just have to tell you, I'm intensely jealous about the idea of having my own property, my own land, and having a chance to pick out my own plans and homes and designs and building from scratch, absolutely from scratch. That has been like a wonder dream ever since I was a little kid. I'm going to share with you, Tina, that I was very much an artist when I was a little kid, and one of the things that I liked to do was make models and things, and I won prizes for my models of miniature homes made out of cardboard and glue, because I had really good designs and people recognized that I had good designs, and it's never really happened for me. I don't know if it ever will, but it's a very, very real thing for you, and it's kind of a big deal. But there's always, because it's such a big deal to actually own land and build your own home. It's almost like the American dream as far as I'm concerned. But there's so many unknowns, and it's frustrating to have to continue to live with so many unknown factors and things that cannot be solved or understood right now at this moment, at the time of this reading. And so you just have to live with it. Extreme frustration. But the beauty of the High Priestess, don't forget, is that whatever needs to be revealed to you will be revealed in its own good time. You will need to know what you need to know when you need to know it. No more, no less, no sooner, no later. It's just that some people need to know everything now. So if you're feeling a degree of frustration there, it's understandable, obviously. So how are we going to go forward here? Okay, it's very simple. You just keep going. You keep going. You've put huge amounts of time, money, energy, resources into this already, and it is a work in progress. So just understand that and keep going. It's very much about the direction and management of resources, whatever that might be. Money, timber, the crew, the teams, the neighbors, the neighborhood, anything and everything in your immediate environment within the next, within a 5, 10, 20 mile orbit. That's your world. And you are now at the center of your world. And to me it feels it's very much about carving out your new world. And you're still at the early stages. Look at this. Okay, you're still at the drafting stage. You're still at the construction stage. It's very early stage, but it's actually happening. And it is worthy, and it is good, and it is a work in progress. So in order to keep going, just understand that it is literally, it's almost like a work of art, and it is a work of art in progress. You can't just go click like that. Like if you were super rich, you could just hire, incredibly expensive people to do stuff for you at super speed. But that's not really where you're going to benefit. This is so much your own creation. So we're talking about, think of yourself as that is you, okay? You are the manifester. You're the one directing all the time and energy and resources, and it is ongoing. You've put in a lot already, and there's still a lot more to do. Okie dokie. So I hope that made sense. Thank you. I love doing readings for you guys. It's a real honor. It's a real pleasure. So, I think what I'm going to do is wrap this up. I have to do a long, slow unwind for the live streams because the lag is extremely long. And if I just shut this down right now, Tina, you will actually miss a good chunk of your reading. That's how distorted it is on the live stream. It's very extreme tonight. So I'm going to check out now personally, but I'm going to play music in the background, okay, to let it run out. So once you start hearing the music, you know, you can be safe to log out, okay? So let's see. My thing now is, how am I going to do this? I got to figure out a nice song. I might take a really old TarotLumination song. The Word, Love the Word. I'm going to do Love the Word. To me, it's like a chanty song. Do the word, hear the word. Do 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 do. I always wanted this song to be sung by a big church choir and a band. You know how they do that in churches? Some of these Christian churches, they have incredible bands and musicians and singers. And that's how I wanted this song to be produced. Of course, this is just really me on my own in a little, very, very amateur studio. But you get the gist of it. Here we go.
Sing the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hum the word, breathe the word, whisper